It's Zoom. Hey everybody, welcome to our class today. We're going to talk with Dr. Kevin Miller. He's the owner of EP True Chiropractic, and he's going to be talking to us about chiropractic care, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to let him take it away.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to talk about chiropractic. I think it's very important to go in some detail on how chiropractic works and why. Usually that's the biggest misconception, that when people come in, they just don't know why chiropractic works and why you should be adjusted, for forever and have a healthy spine. That's what I want to start out with is just going over some basics, and then I'll dive into more neurology. Once you know the physiology and the neurology of it, it makes a lot of sense why you would want to have a healthy spine for the rest of your life. But chiropractic, it's definitely a science. Tons of research on spine and neurology. It's an art to develop the skills, the tactile skills to adjust people. That is definitely an art, a skill that is learned over time. And then there's a philosophy behind it too, that the philosophy is that the body is designed to heal. We're self-healing and self-regulating animals. I mean, humans are animals, that we have the power to heal inside of us. And a lot of stuff just happens automatic and autonomically. Like when you start working out, your heart rate just goes up because it just happens that way. I can't sit here and say, okay, I'm gonna make my heart rate, go up to like I'm doing a hard workout. Or at night when you sleep, the digestion still works. It's still processing, but while you're sleeping. So it's an autonomic system that happens. So it's a science, art, and philosophy. And the philosophy, if you believe that your body can heal and you have that power inside you, it can differ from traditional medical model philosophy. That philosophy is where you need to have something from the outside to heal your body. And that I just don't agree with that philosophy. I am not against the medical model. It can save your life in a crisis. There's no question about that. If your blood pressure is at 200/100, you need to bring it down, and you need a medication to do that. But where my philosophy really strays is when the medical model stops, saving people, and it starts hurting people. And depends on what publication you look at. Sometimes it's the 5th, 6th leading cause of death in the United States is the medical model, whether it's a drug, properly prescribed drug, improperly prescribed, surgery, hospital. I just had a patient the other day that her dad went into the hospital, wasn't for COVID, but that's where he picked COVID up. Yeah, he was in his 80s, but he picked it up at the hospital and succumbed to it. So you don't want to be in the hospital. It's the last place you want to be, because that's where all the sick people are. So that's definitely a philosophical thing. And sometimes that difference between the medical model and the chiropractic model, they say they don't get along, or there's different tools in the toolbox to use. Right. I don't use drugs and surgery. That's not what I want to do. My philosophy is I want to create human potential. And that's the amazing thing. Amazing thing is when you can work with human potential and performance on the body. If you can make the body work better, right. And have somebody live up to their potential versus always stand down here. So that's kind of the background of my thoughts and beliefs in chiropractic, that we get to work with this innate intelligence and potential of the body. And once you release that and you see the power of it, and over and over every single day, and people just coming in and saying, that their breathing's better, their sleeping's better, they're pooping better, whatever their situation is, that makes a huge difference in their life. And when that potential can be reached, that's a very satisfying thing.
Yeah, it amazes me that the way chiropractic care works, that the spine, it controls so many functions in our body. Yeah. It just amazes me.
It controls everything.
Right.
It controls everything in the body.
It's amazing.
And that's what people don't, the spine is hidden. I'll use my model here. But the spine is hidden. Your teeth, you can see your teeth, and everybody is worried about their teeth. But what's still under that? There's still roots under there.
Mhm.
And when you go to the dentist, they take an x-ray to look at the roots to see what's going on. Well, your spine is completely hidden. You can't see it, but you want to see what it looks like. And so that's, one of the process that we do in here is we want to do a complete examination. We have some nerve function studies that we do. We're going to take an x-ray. It's like a builder going into building a house with no blueprint.
Right.
Like, you got to have a blueprint. You got to see what you're working on, see what direction it needs to be adjusted. If there's any damage in there, number one, and pathology, if there is some pathology. Unfortunately, I have found pathology before. I found bone cancers. I found, aortic aneurysms. You see osteoarthritis or discs that are blown out that do need surgery. The goal is to keep people from surgery, but sometimes those discs are destroyed and they need to go in and have that. But so that's why the more information that you have on somebody, the better you can help them. So
Great.
yeah. So how chiropractic works is I have the spine here, the brain. This is the brain up here. Kind of give you the lowdown of what the spine looks like. So the brain is up here, and then the cervical or the neck curves are right here. The top two vertebrae, like your atlas and axis. This is how your skull sits on those top two vertebrae. Most important area of your spine right there. If you ever watched the Wild Kingdom and the tigers chasing their prey, where do they always go? They always go right below the skull, because that's their main life functions right there. If they can break that, it's going to make obviously kill the animal as quick as possible. Then we come down, this green area is the thoracic spine, so your mid-back, and then down in your lower is your lumbar spine, and then your pelvis. Now these white things are the disc spaces in between your vertebrae, and the green here is your big block vertebrae, and then the spinous process. So these are the bumps that you feel on your back. There's 24 movable joints in your spine, and between each vertebrae, there's 8 different joints. So there's a lot of things going on in the spinal cord and how they connect together. There's CSF fluid flowing back and forth. There's 5 layers of thick muscles. So these big back muscles that you have, they're stabilizing paraspinal muscles that connect everything. And then there's ligaments and tendons in the holes where the nerves come out. These yellow things are the nerves. Where they come out, there's fatty tissue. There's blood vessels that go through there. There's lymphatic tissue. So it doesn't cause a big misalignment to put pressure on these nerves. And when that happens, the brain controls everything, sends messages down the spine, across those nerves, every cell, tissue, cell, organ, everything in your body. So if you put my hand on my heart, for the heart to breathe, or heart to beat, lungs to breathe, stomach to digest food, everything has to be connected. So let's say I T1 to T4 right here. If I slice those nerves, if I took a scissors, cut Amanda's spine open, and I took a scissors and I cut these nerves on Amanda. T1 to T4 goes to a heart and lungs. Those would stop immediately. All right. And same thing with the paralysis. If this spine gets cut, there's a paralysis. You guys remember Christopher Reeves probably. Mentally think of the pictures of him flying around to Superman, and then in the wheelchair and the tubes that he's got, to breathe for him and feed him. Aging speeds up. He only lives 7 years after he was paralyzed. When there's damage on the nervous system, that aging process speeds up. If it's completely cut, then life is done. But the condition that I look for and take care of is called subluxation, and that's a big word. Sub means less than, so it's not cut, it's out of alignment, pinched, squeezed, irritated, choked off, however you describe it. And then lux is light, so energy. And then ation is a condition of less energy. That's what subluxation means. So literally, when you get adjusted, it increases the energy in your body. So I always tell people, I don't want you less than, I want you more than. And if you can correct the spine or get it moving in the right direction, that energy is going to flow through your body. It is going to be so much more efficient, and performance is going to be better. I've been blessed. I've gone to several, traveled with our USA wrestling team. So some of the most elite athletes in the world, 2 Olympic games, 5 world championships, been around the world with them. And why do we go? Why do they want us adjusting them? It's about performance. They're hurting every day. That's why do you come to chiropractic, is because of
some kind of an issue.
Pain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's why, and
that's why I
share. That's Amanda. That's why she came. But what she learned was it's about performance, and it's about function and healing at a higher level than you are right now.
Right.
And that's the thing that what brings you in is pain. But once you learn, if you want that, some people don't want it. Some people are fine. They just want to get out of pain, and they don't want to improve their life.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a situation with a patient the other day, and she just flat out said, why try?
Right.
Why try with my health? It was sad. It was really sad to see her.
So these people just want the quick fix. The Tylenol or the ibuprofen or whatever it is to help with the pain, and they're immediate, but don't want to see anything better.
They don't want to, she did not want to improve her life. And, and that's what I told her. I said, you deserve it. You deserve to have a better life and function better. Because she was on a slew of medications and just mentally in a bad place. All this stuff going on right now in the world, and a lot of stress. But she deserves it, and I'm going to tell her that if she puts the work in, it's got to be a teamwork. Like I can adjust you every single day, but if you're use this example, if you're drinking a 12-pack of Mountain Dew and a box of Twinkies every day, you're not going to get completely healthy. And you're gonna be inflamed. The body's not gonna function the way it should. So there's other aspects in here that we call the 5 essentials. You got to eat good. You got to exercise. Mindset. This all starts right here. This mind can control everything. If levels are so high and stress hormones are through the roof, you can do everything right, but you're still not going to get well. So this has got to be spot on. And then detoxification. You got to make sure the detoxification channels in your body are clean too.
And just as a side note, years ago, I went to a different chiropractor. Years ago, I went to a different chiropractor. But what I love about EP True is that you don't just come in and get adjusted. There's a process that you go through. You come in, you do your exercises to make sure everything is limber, flexible, and then you get adjusted. But they care more than just about let me adjust you and then you leave, right? So like you said, there's so much more to it in this, that you guys put into it, and I really appreciate that.
And that's the level is depending on where you want to take your health, and it's up to each patient whether they want to put the energy in. It's hard. It's not easy to stay healthy.
Well, nothing worthwhile is easy.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. But it's worth it.
Right.
To have a healthy life and not have to deal with stressful diagnoses and death. I mean, really, it comes down to that: is how long do you want to live, and what's your quality of life do you want to be?
Right.
And you got to put effort in. If you don't put effort in, it's good. The body's amazing because it can withstand so much stress. But the stress that people are under, it can withstand a lot. But when it breaks, it's gonna be
And
bad.
it takes a lot to repair that, rather than. So if you take care of your body now, rather than putting yourself into that position to where it takes longer to repair, it's you're going to be better off.
No, I love it because we're getting into some of the philosophy behind your health, because you have a philosophy on how you raise your kids. You have a philosophy on money. You have a philosophy on politics. You have a philosophy on everything in life. The number one philosophy that you should be thinking about is your health.
Right.
That philosophy right there should be in front of every other philosophy that you work on, because
if your health's not good, then everything else is going to fall apart anyway.
And especially I don't know, a lot of moms are on this.
We do have a lot of moms.
I just heard this the other day. I hear it. I don't know how many times in my career. A mom in her late 30s, maybe mid 30s, early 40s. Kids are getting older, maybe raised, or maybe even early 50s, and moms say, I've been taking care of everybody else.
Wish I was taking care of myself more.
Except myself.
Right. It's easy to do.
It's easy to do.
It is.
I
Your
get
kids
it.
are little and you're constantly taking care of,
Yeah.
and you forget to take care of you. And if you
Yes.
don't take care of you, you can't take care of everybody else properly,
Yes.
really.
And
So.
that is, so I'm just pleading to your mom, if you're in that situation, take care of yourself.
Mhm.
Put energy and time into yourself. There's nobody more important than mom in the family, because I know if moms go down, the whole family goes down.
Exactly.
Us males, we cannot run the ship like moms can. So
you heard that. Everybody heard that.
coming from male experience, but I think that's a very important, and that's that philosophy part of practice is just figuring out where you're at. That's the number one step, is right there is, where do you want your health to go?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want it to continue to suffer and be stressed out, or putting time, energy, and money into it?
Right.
And I will tell you from experience, from family members that have gone through the medical model, and cancer, heart disease, medications, that is more expensive than investing in your health.
Right.
In the long run, you will spend more in that. My mother-in-law she was spending $7,000 a month to live in a care facility at 62 years old, taking 24 pills a day. Her drug bill per every year was $42,000. She was taking 24 pills a day, and I mean, they could do it, but how much money just went down the tube. So yeah, it was just that was a bad deal. But get back to the spine and subluxation. That was a great philosophical branch there. But the spine is so important because it controls everything in your body, every cell. We did a master class last night to some of our patients, and I was talking about at the cellular level how important the neurology is to that, and this, like, just a cell wall and the good fats that you put in your body. Like, you got to have good fats, but how cells can communicate with each other. We have trillions of cells in our body, but it's all about the communication if you're going to express health correctly. And the communication starts with the nervous system. And getting into some deeper neurology, grossly, we think about there's some structures of the spine. From the front, we want to see it straight up and down. If you have a big curve in it like this, that's called a scoliosis. And every doctor knows this, whether it's a medical doctor, chiropractor, orthopedic surgeon, pediatrician, whoever it is, that if it's a bad scoliosis, those nerves get crushed in there and organs fail. Mm-hmm. Lifespans are decreased with bad scoliosis, if it's a 60-degree scoliosis. But what if it's only like a 10-degree curve in the spine? The pressure on that nervous system is going to be less. You're not going to be functioning at your optimal, but you're still going to work. Everything's still going to work, but it's just at a less function. Right. So my job is to find where those are at, adjust it to increase the function of that nervous system, communication with your brain, so that body can function and heal at your 100% potential, or close to as possible. So from the front, straight up and down, closest we can get to that is the best. And then from the side, we do want to have curves in here. So if I turn myself to the side, we're going to have curves in your spine because we're fighting gravity. And the neck curve is the most important because it's closest to the brain, and your brainstem actually sits down into C1 and C2 in the top of your vertebrae. There's a vagus nerve up there, the cranial nerves that control your little muscles in your ear, your eyes, all your facial muscles are very, all innervated from right here. The rest of the spine, the lower neck, those are the brachial nerves that go down in your arm that control all fine motor function. T1 to T4 is heart and lungs. T5 to T9, stomach, liver, gallbladder, spleen. T10 down to T12, that is a lot of the small intestine. T12, L1, kidney, adrenal gland. Anybody got stress going on? Mm-hmm. During this time we were talking about stress. Right. What do people do when they get stressed out? What happens to those shoulders? They go up into the ears. Right. You just get tense, and you walk around. We're on our phones doing this. I mean, how can you breathe when you're doing this? It's just hard. But if you open it up, everything just flows better. Lower back, then we get down into sciatic nerve, L3, 4, and 5, make up that sciatic nerve, go to your lower GI, to those guts. Then the sacrum is reproductive organs and bladder. So, that's kind of a quick rundown of what everything is controlled in your spine. But if there's a bad subluxation, let's use a common one is sciatica. That's the most common thing that I see every single day. But also, if that nerve is getting pinched and shooting down the leg, how do you think that's going to affect your guts on the inside? It's going to make them dysfunction, and it's not going to work correctly. It happens a lot, or adrenal gland at T11, T12, in that lower thoracic. How about up in the neck? If that upper back or
That's
upper
me.
neck, yes. Yeah,
My neck's a
Amanda, we
mess.
can talk about Amanda. Do you care about
No,
talk about Amanda's neck?
no,
So
go ahead.
we talked about having that forward curve. Amanda's neck is reverse backwards, that curve is. And it had worsened over a few years since we had seen you last. And
yes, because I was bad and didn't come for a few years. So put myself in the worst position.
Life happens, but
right.
But that's why we want to check on, we want to keep track of our patients, because in a year or two things can get worse,
right.
because stress happens. You're maybe change jobs, or you sleep in a different bed, or a lot of different things. Accidents, traumas, sure. Stress. Things can happen, and then we're fighting back to, just to get back to where we were.
Right.
We want you to keep continuing through, stay healthy throughout a lifetime. But getting into some neurology, do you think that's
sure.
too deep?
No, sure.
What happens when you get adjusted? This is a big question that I get a lot, and there's an amazing research, Spine Medical Journal, and this is all medical journal stuff, and why exercise is so important and movement is so important. So when we have you come in, we have these wobble discs that we have you sit on, and just get that spine warmed up. It's kind of like before exercise. We want you to warm that spine up, go front and back, side to side, rotate, get those spinal joints moving. And when you do that, there's proprioception. I don't know if that's a big word, but it means balance. That's a lot of people, what proprioception relates to them is balance. But what the proprioception cells do in your spinal column is they talk to your brain up here. So they talk to the cerebellum in the back of your brain, and then a lot of those messages go to the prefrontal cortex. So when we talk neurology, we want to have positive feedback loops. There's different neurological patterns. So like when a baby develops, when they do the cross crawl pattern, they're developing a spinal tract in their body and reflexes that are developing those neural pathways. When they start sucking, that's another neural pathway. When they start tracking their eyes, that's another neural pathway. And your spine just when pathways and create good health over time. So when you have, let's say that we go back to lower back sciatica, pain shooting down your leg, that sends a negative feedback loop to your brain, and that's called nociception. When that happens, the brain actually shrinks down. So people in chronic pain, their brain shrinks down after 5 years, 5%, and then 1% after that. So just that being in chronic pain, those negative feedback loops, it's going to shrink your nerves and your neurology in your brain. Wow. But adjusting will break that loop, break that negative feedback loop, and start creating those new ones. And so the longer and the more positive feedback loops you have going in your brain, guess what? Your brain's going to say less pain, right, more health. Right. And that's scientifically, who doesn't want that?
Very true.
Yes. Everybody wants that. Everybody should want that.
Right.
Those positive feedback loops. That's going to stimulate the brain and say, prefrontal cortex. My attitude's going to be better. I'm going to sleep better. I'm going to breathe better. My digestion's going to be better, wherever that subluxation is at in that person. So that's the kind of the scientific model behind how chiropractic works. And it's the same for exercise. Why movement? If I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to start bench pressing, I'm getting a lot of proprioception input in my shoulders and my elbows and my wrists that are going to send messages to the brain, positive feedback loops. If I'm going to go out and run, my hips and knees and ankles, same thing. I'm going to develop neuromuscular pathways on running, and I'm going to get stronger running. I'm going to get stronger in my pec and arms when I do bench press. You're building those patterns. If you want to get stronger, you got to use it. You got to build the neurological patterns. The muscle's going to build then. Same thing with your spine. If you want to have those positive patterns, we need to correct the structure of your spine, get it moving in the right direction so those pathways can be built to your brain.
So bottom line is we need to take care of our health.
Yes. Yes.
And if it's not a desire to take care of your health, then it should be. Because I will tell you, like I said, I did walk away for a couple years and not come in and get adjusted. And I can tell that I didn't. And I feel so much better every time I come in. When I have an adjustment, I feel so much better. And we're working on that bad neck. So
it's gonna get a lot better. And that's always number one, essential number one that we talk about is mindset. You gotta believe that you can improve. Yeah. If you don't believe that, then
that goes for anything. You're making adjustments in your life. You have to be able, to believe that you can do it.
You got to make the decision. The incision is you cut into, but a decision is you trim off. And you got to get rid of the mindset of, you got to trim that mindset off that I can't get better, or I just don't want to get better. Right. It should be, I will get better. I will get better. I choose. My body can heal. And the body is powerful. Right. You have all the stuff that you're born with it. You have everything that you need right inside of you. You just got to get rid of the interferences. And the first interference is the mind. Yeah.
So this has been really interesting, and I know we don't have a lot of time, but really quick before we go, just tell them where where EP True is, where they can find it, and then he has an event to tell you about really quick before we let you guys go.
Yes, EP True Chiropractic, West Des Moines, 19th and EP True, or 19th and Grand is the kind of crossroads there. Valley Junction, just west, probably 15 blocks or so. But one exciting thing that we are doing, we have an annual health conference that we do every single year, and it's February 27th. And this year we are bringing in a guest speaker. Her name's Mary Toko. She has been around for 40 years. She's kind of a pioneer in the health and wellness and raising a family that way, and not necessarily the medical model, but the natural, healthy way. And she's a grandma. She's raised her kids to be, super healthy. I know a couple of her children are chiropractors, but she's coming to talk. Dr. Drew Oblenis and myself are going to do a couple talks also, but she's going to do the majority: nutrition, detoxification, just going over toxicity stuff. That's something that doesn't get talked about a lot, how that can affect your body. And then she'll get into the COVID, with the virus and the COVID vaccine, so that people can know the other side of the story and make a better informed choice for yourself and your family. There definitely is another side of the story. We're not going to get into that today. Than what you hear on the news. It's been a frustrating year because some of the information that you hear on the news it's not always correct, or it's only a small part of the story instead of the whole story. Yeah. So, that's a whole other topic.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's going to be a really good event. I'm excited to go to that too. I got my ticket for it, and we have a link that we'll post. I did put it on a previous post as well that I shared of Dr. Miller talking about this event. But I will post it in here too. And then if you want to, you can use the code ABUNDANT, all uppercase letters, to get a discount on that, since you're part of our Abundant Family Freedom group. And I hope to see you guys there. And if you have any questions about this interview, this talk that we did today, that Dr. Miller did today, you're certainly welcome to post those in the comments here, and I'm sure he will address them or whatever. Yeah. So
help anybody out.
Hope you guys enjoyed today, and have a great day.